Thank you very much, Candace. Hey, Nick, on Saturday, you guys, for the most part, played pretty well on the offensive line, but there seemed to be a few times when some guys came free on some stunts, et cetera. And how much have you guys talked about that since then, and how, and I know you're going to give me the good answer here, but how important is communication up front in those kind of situations?
Well, communication is obviously huge, especially for offensive line play. So that's been a big point that we've had this week for us working on stunts and stuff like that. Just trying to fix any team corrections we had over the week. So that was one of the corrections that we're fixing at the moment. We've been doing a good job of practice so far yesterday, and we're going to keep working on it today. And throughout the week, we're going to keep going.
Yeah, from film you've seen or video you've seen, how active is Penn State in that regard, stunning, blitzing, et cetera?
Over film, we know that they're a very talented team with a great defensive end, a great D lineman overall. They're very active with their blitz and stunts and stuff like that. So, we've just been watching film from the Indiana game and the games we've had prior to. So
Yeah.
we've just been prepared for anything, whether they stunt or they don't stunt, the type of blitzes they may run and things like that. So we've just been preparing, watching a lot of film together as a unit and by ourselves, trying to find ways for us to figure out game plan and strategies for them.
Thanks, man.
Up next, Brendan Gulick. You're muted, Brendan.
Sorry about that. I thought I unmuted. Apologize. Nick, thanks for joining us, man. Wanted to ask you a little bit about how you might self-evaluate that first start and, if there are things that you are still trying to achieve considering the way things went this weekend.
Overall, I think it was a good start for that weekend, for this weekend on last Saturday. There's always stuff for me to improve on. There's a lot of things I want to get better with my game and more things I want to do. I want to get more comfortable around the guys and the offense and things like that, and just get tighter as a unit, get tighter as a team. So overall, we always have stuff for us to improve on. We're not at the level we want to be at yet, but we're going to keep working hard during practice and throughout these weeks for us to get better.
Tell me a little bit about Shaka Toney and the challenges that come with trying to block him.
Well, he's a very athletic defensive end, very talented. I know Penn State had a lot of great rushes last week against Indiana, and last year they were a very talented team. So he's going to be a great competitor for me to go up against and for me and Thayer to go up against whoever's playing. So we're just ready for us to go after him and do our best.
Thank you.
Up next, Nathan Baird.
Hey, Nick. Coach Jadrawa was here a couple weeks ago talking to us about your efforts to gain weight over the off season. Just what was that like? How did you kind of attack your meal plan, I suppose? And he said that your mom was kind of reaching out to them, asking to send even more food. So how did you guys kind of figure out what to do about that?
Well, during the quarantine break, we had that whole 3-month span where we were just kind of by ourselves, and we had to be accountable for ourselves in terms of weight room, nutrition, and things like that. So a goal for me that was set by the coaches and myself was for me to gain about 10 more pounds to get to around 315, around that weight goal. So, it was just a lot of eating. It was good because of how a lot of people kind of hated quarantine for the most part because everyone was kind of staying at home and they didn't really have a lot of things to do. But for me, I took it as an advantage for me to go and eat as much as I can, weight train as much as I can, and do the little things right and things like that. So yeah, it was kind of hard with me eating and being at home a lot because my mom wasn't used to having me back for that month of time. That was one of the big selling points for me going to college, is that once I'm out of the house, her whole food plan would just drop immensely. So it was kind of a change for her having me back for 3 months, but we enjoyed it, so it was all good.
What can you do at 315 that you couldn't do last season?
I just feel better. It's all about the confidence when at this position and playing offensive line and things like that. When it comes to just feeling better about your body, feeling stronger, and I feel like I haven't lost any speed. I feel better about myself. I feel more confident about myself. I feel stronger and more physical with everything I do.
Up next, Dan Hope.
Hey, Nicholas, just wanted to ask you just what did it mean to you to, be in the starting lineup finally and to make that first start at right tackle on Saturday?
It's huge. I've been working at that ever since last year, from January all the way through, trying to find a way for me to compete and get that starting spot. So it's been a lot of work, from nutrition to football and film analysis and things like that. So I'm very blessed and thankful for me to get that opportunity this previous weekend, for me to get a start and be a starter along with all the rest of the guys that are playing right now. Like, it's just a blessing to be here.
Do you feel like you're finally where you're supposed to be as a player?
I feel like I'm getting there. I mean, there's always other stuff I can work on. I can get more film analysis, get better with my technique, anything that I can do to get better. So I'm never, ever going to feel like I'm at where I'm supposed to be at. I always feel like I can improve, but I do feel very confident at the moment about where I am and how I've been doing. And I've been getting good admiration from the coaches and things like that. So it just feels like I'm more along with the program as a whole.
Thanks, Nicholas.
Up next, Austin Ward.
Hey, Nick, what feels better, getting named a starter or getting a champion grade?
I mean, obviously getting a championship ring. I mean, that's been the goal when I came here, was for me to find a way to win championships. That's why I chose Ohio State. But being named the starter is just a blessing. I'm very grateful and thankful to the coaches and everyone that got me to this point for me to get an opportunity to even get a chance to start and play. So, but obviously the championship ring is always the number one goal, no matter what.
Sorry, that must have been Zoom. I just meant getting you graded out a champion on Saturday, or on Saturday for the first start. I don't want to get ahead for the rings. I know that's for January, but you get your first start, but then it's validated by the the way you grade it out.
It's kind of a mixture of both. I mean, like, always our expectation is for us to be graded as a champion. Like, that's why we're in the game. We're supposed to find a way for us to grade as a champion, because that means we did our job. That's a big philosophy out here, is to do your job. And for us to do our job is that everyone here is supposed to be graded as a champion. And if we have that, then we'll find a way to win games. So, both are equally important. But, like, I'm just glad that I was able to do my job, which meant that I was graded out as a champion. And I'm also, like I said, very grateful for the opportunity for me to get a chance to start.
Thanks, man.
Up next, Bill Landis.
Hey, Nick, did you really pull a gutter off the side of your house when you were working out at home back in the spring?
Yeah, so I was trying to find a place to do pull-ups. So, like, as you know, in Florida, it was like kind of bad having the virus there and everything. So I really couldn't go to any gyms or anything like that. So I had to do a lot of stuff at home. So I thought my roof could support me, and I was kind of mistaken by that. So there was a few things that were broken in that first week or two when I was back home trying to work out and stuff. When I knew that, like, we had to be quarantined and I was working out by myself and stuff like that. But, like, once stuff kind of got better with quarantine and everything like that, I was able to go out to gym. So there was no more broken stuff in my mom's house.
Did you have to fix all that, or how did that go?
We had our HOA come through, so we had to figure it out. We were able to, like, talk to them about it.
Thanks.
Next up, Patrick Murphy.
Nick, yesterday, Josh told us that when he's playing and blocking with Wyatt, he can feel that it's Wyatt, just the way he blocks. I'm curious, on the other side of Wyatt there, do you notice just those blocks that they're different coming from a guy like Wyatt?
Oh, they're huge. I mean, when Wyatt was saying that he was when he opted out at first from the go to the NFL when they canceled our season, it was a big blow to us because, like, Wyatt's such an amazing player. And, like, having him next to me, everything just felt so easy and, like, good because he's just such an amazing player. So having him back practice just flipped to another level. Like, it went from, like, having good practices to, like, almost being, like, amazing because Wyatt's just such an amazing player and such a great talent. So, yeah, I would, like Josh said, like, there's just a different feel when you have Wyatt with you. He's just so talented. He moves his body really well, has great core strength. So, like, everything just kind of works to, like, having just, like, the best type of block with him.
Thanks, man.
Up next, Bill Rabinowitz.
Hi, Nicholas. You obviously were a five-star guy and come in with all this hype, and it took you a little while to get your body right. what was that process like for you? Has it been a difficult thing, and does that make it more satisfying that you're where you are now?
Yeah, it's been difficult. I mean, just trying to gain weight like consistently with the amount of running and training that we do on a day-to-day basis, along with school and things like that. It was a whole different feel for me coming out of high school. So yeah, it feels more rewarding after having all this time, finally being at a place that I feel a little bit even more comfortable than last year or the year before that. It's just that constant growth and improvement each and every year. It's just kind of very satisfying.
And on a different note, you probably saw what happened with Wisconsin, the outbreak that they had, and they had to cancel their game against Nebraska. Does that kind of reinforce what Ryan Day tells you every day, drums it into your guys' heads, how careful you have to be? Does that give you pause?
I don't know if you can reinforce any more than what Coach Day has already told us. Like, we've been from day one, ever since, even during quarantine, like from that moment on, we've been like, we have to be careful around the people we've been around. Everyone, we have to treat almost like everyone has the virus. Like, so although, yes, that does has some cause of concern, like it doesn't change anything that Coach Day's been saying for months now. Like, it's always been, be careful, always wear a mask, always have to self-isolate, do things so we can have the best season we possibly can.
Thank you.
Next is Dodd.
Hey, Nick, how is Justin different this year, just overall?
I remember him talking about him going on a vegan diet, I think.
Yeah.
So, that's been really helpful for him in terms of his body. He says that he feels great whenever he talks to me about that type of stuff. Or I hear him in the locker room talking to the other guys about it, like getting other kids kind of to join in on the bandwagon with the vegan diet. I don't think I'll join, but no, I just know that he's been a great player. He's been doing a lot of film work, a lot of studying during quarantine break. After once we got back here, he's always in the meeting room. He's always with Coach Day, always with Coach Dennis, just trying to find ways to get better and train and become the best he could possibly be.
When you heard vegan, being a football player, what went through your mind?
It sounded like a lot more calories that I would have to intake, so that's why I kind of stayed away from it. Or a lot of food. So.
Thank you.
Up next, Tony Girdman.
Nick, so you're breaking your mom's house. You're eating all of her food. Are you allowed back home?
I'm always allowed back home. My mom loves it. Like, we just did a lot of spaghetti and stuff like that. That's kind of how we managed it. So, like, I've been doing that here. I've been doing that back at home. So that's kind of been like, that was almost like my breakfast, lunch, and dinner for like 2 to 3 weeks there.
And you mentioned Shaka Tony earlier. What about Jay Boyd, the other defenseman? What does he present to you guys?
Another great edge rusher with that Penn State defense. Very talented as well, athletic, strong. So it's just another great challenge for us to get better, for us to find ways for us to compete. So we're just ready for us to compete. That's all we want to do. That's all we've been trying to do. That's why we wanted to play this year, for us to find a way to compete.
Thank you.
Up next, Stephen Means.
Hey, Nick, just kind of focused on your development a little bit. When we talked to Coach Stud, he talked about how even though it took you 3 years to get onto the starter, you've been on the right track this entire time. But for you as a player who came in highly rated, did it always feel like, you were on the right track all the time, even the last 2 years when, you didn't necessarily have a starting role?
Looking at it from the long run, yes. But, like, in the moment, sometimes it didn't feel that way. Like, sometimes, there's always ups and downs at this program. You could be on a high track, feeling like you're always doing great, and then one day you just kind of have a stutter. You just don't really know what's going on, and then sometimes you kind of decline a little bit, but you got to find a way to get back. So looking at it from the long run, it's just a lot of me developing from the film side and understanding the football side of things to the weight room side and strength side and understanding how to get my body a certain way and how to maintain. And then from just a confidence side of, okay, now you got to put it all together. You have the weight, you have the film study, now you have to put it all together with the confidence and the aggression that you need to do for you to play off the line.
So when that's happening, how do you keep yourself from getting discouraged?
Can you say that again?
How do you keep yourself from getting discouraged when you're going through all that?
It's a lot of things. Mostly it's the unit. It's the power of the unit. It's the guys around me because there's older guys that know what I'm going through. Like we always, like almost everyone goes through similar things. Like they always see people go through highs. They always see people go through lows. And an older guy knows those feelings. So like when I see like a freshman going through that type of stuff, I was there as a freshman. I know that high feeling at first, and then that kind of low, and a midpoint, and then kind of a decline as well. So we always pick each other up. So it's always been about the unit and the brotherhood that we had with my brothers in the offensive line room.
And last question, Joey Kaufman.
Hey, Nick, having looked at the film now and reviewing last Saturday's game, how did you guys feel you did with the run game?
There was few things that we could have done better. There's always room for improvement for everything that we do, whether it's the run game, pass game, communication, everything. So, it's just something that we want to improve on and get better with. That was a big point for us this week. We want to try to improve on what we did from last week and get better, especially in the run game, passing game. So like in all facets, we just want to get better. So that we just want to find a way for us to improve and practice hard.
Where do you think you guys can improve most in the run game?
It depends on what type of play we're doing or anything like that. Like some plays, it's kind of more about like the point of attack and getting stronger there. Other plays, it's more about like us being able to combo together and things like that. So it just depends on what type of play we're talking about. But in an overall facet, we just want to get better as a team running the ball.